What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. First of all, a big thank you to everybody that's supporting the build so far. It really means a lot to me, keeps me motivated to keep this going. So keep those comments coming in, keep those likes coming in. And if you haven't been following along already, go check out the build so far. I'll post a link below. Check out the progress I've got so far. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, really helps me out. Wolf Scott is 24 days away. So that's the deadline I want to get this thing running and driving by. I still have a lot to do, but the good news is most of the stuff is here. So you can see behind me, I have the boxes with the wheels and all of the tires showed up. I have over here as well the brake calipers pads, got some stainless lines. I fitted some stainless lines on the rear beam when I had that drop to do the gas tank. Still waiting for the rotors and the caliper carriers and the adapters to show up. But apart from that, I have pretty much everything. So in this episode, we're gonna crack on with the shift linkage. So I have over here on the bench the shift linkage kit from S&P Automotive. And this basically replaces the stock shift linkages on the 4-speed transmission that came in the vehicle. It adapts what's already in the vehicle to the O2A or an O2J 5-speed transmission. This right here, this was the bracket or the part of the linkage I was waiting for over a month, over 4 weeks. This had to come out of China, but it is labeled as a genuine Volkswagen Audi part, so that's pretty sweet. And yeah, you can see this is different from the 4-speed one. It moves the pivot point up a little higher to clear the 5-speed transmission. Now, there is a couple of other brackets that you have to reuse from the factory 4-speed. One is this thing right back there. That one, that bolts onto the 4-speed transmission that came in the vehicle. So you have to reuse that. And the other thing you need to reuse is this little bit here. Now, mine was pretty worn out, so I replaced that. And this is the rest of the linkage. So let me give you a rough idea about how it goes in. If I start on the transmission right here, this is the side-to-side lever, and you can see I've bent that. So if you take the bracket off, you put that in a vise, you just have to bend it about 45 degrees so it lines up kind of going fore aft in the vehicle. And then I took the plastic retainer, modified it a little bit, just threw a zip tie around it for some extra safety. And you can see now it lines up in a much better angle for this rod right here. The other stuff that's over on the bench, that clips in down there. So I'm gonna get this thing up on the lift in the morning, get working on that. You can see outside behind me, it's dark out, but I just wanted to shoot an intro for this video, so I will catch you guys in the morning. Good morning, YouTube fam. It is the next day, going out to the shop to start working on this shift linkage. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, why am I not just converting to a cable shifter from a later Volkswagen? Well, I'll be honest with you, at the time when I bought all this stuff, I didn't know that was an option. Like I've said before, I'm learning on this project as I'm going along, and I had already purchased most of the stuff for this shift rod linkage, so I'm committed. I want to try and make it work. And when I rebuild the car for the second time, I will probably upgrade to the cable shifters when I do that. And at this point, upgrading to the cable shifter is going to require me to buy the cables. And because I have an O2A transmission, I believe I need to upgrade to an O2J shift tower. So I'm not going to worry about that just yet. So the plan for today is going to head over to the bench over here. Got my old trusty Haynes service manual. Looks about as old as the car. And I'm gonna start inside with the shifter. I wanna double check that I did that right, and then I'm gonna work from kind of back to front with my linkages, and that one lever that I was waiting for like 4 weeks, that has to be aligned perfectly. So I wanna get that alignment set, and the rest of the stuff should drop right in. So gear shift linkage adjustment. First thing you need to do right now is make sure that this base plate is aligned. It has these 2 alignment holes that you need to line up. And of course, when I put it in the first time, I put it in backwards. So I actually had to spin this through 180 degrees. So you'll see this hole and that hole, if you look closely, actually line up perfectly with the holes in the chassis of the car, and they actually go all the way through to the ground underneath. So the next step is to get this thing up in the air and check it out from underneath. I am putting a little dab of lube on all of these little ball joints. Okay, so spent a couple of hours getting this shift linkage adjusted. Let me show you guys what I did. First of all, you saw inside of the car, I oriented that shifter bracket in the correct way. You can see I had it 180 degrees out, so I just spun that around to line up the alignment holes. Then you want to come underneath the car, and the first thing you want to do with this bracket is line this up in the middle of here, and then the gap from there to there is 20 millimeters or 3/4 of an inch. From there, you can come back to where the shifter linkages all bolt to the chassis and the transmission. I put everything in there loosely just to get everything situated. I set the rods up all at their shortest length, so they are threaded on both ends, so when you spin the rod it makes it longer or shorter. So I put them all in at the shortest length, and then the next thing you want to do is tighten up this bolt. And what that does is that kind of locks everything in place. And then with the transmission in neutral, you can start to adjust these shift rods, and so that all these rotate and spin to get all of the gears. The one at the very top, that is the fore aft lever. That's the longest one, and that I had to spin most of the way out. You will also see I have it on the most inward hole. When I had it on the most outboard hole, the end of the lever was hitting the firewall, and I just wasn't getting the adjustment I needed. And then the second adjustment was on this one, which controls the side-to-side motion. I just had to lengthen this one a couple of turns just to get the adjustment, so it would go all the way left to right and in and out of the gears. So it took me about 4 or 5 goes to get it right. A lot of climbing in the car, feeling the gears. The most annoying thing was trying to find a reverse. This right here, you have to do this up really tight, because when you try and get reverse, what happens is this will hit this, and then it will spin the rod inside of this bolt right here. So you have to do this one up pretty tight. The only thing I'm not happy about is I feel like this rod here should be more perpendicular, which would allow this to slide on further. But I have to have it at that angle because the top of the rod there hits the firewall. I wonder if I can notch this a little bit, get this whole thing on. Also, this is only on by about 1/4 of an inch or 3/8 of an inch. It would be nice if I could rotate this in. But I think I have it. That is it for the shift linkage inside of the car. It goes through all the gears. I can find reverse. I've done it 3 or 4 times. So I'm gonna call this one good. And I think what I'm gonna do for these episodes is I'm gonna finish this one up here, and I'm gonna put out the next 2, 3 including this one, nice and short, nice and quick. So join me next time and we'll put on the downpipe and the rest of the exhaust.